Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jack Martin Gymnasium. I'm Jack Sullivan, the current Director of Athletics, named Jack. Jack Martin joke there. Welcome to the 2024 induction ceremony for the class of 2024. Tonight's event would not be made possible without the hard work of a lot of wonderful people. I'd like to start with the athletic department. Natalie Lopez, Roger Stevens, Crystal Hoffman, and Kelly Mayoro. I'd like to the Office of the Foundation for CCM. Colleen McCardle, Casey Dolan, Pam Williams, and Kelly Miola. The Hall of Fame Committee is made up of Jack Martin, Ed Nelson, Jeff Burek, Roger Stevens, Dennis Mack, Dennis Morgan, Kelly Miola, and Lori Wells. I'd like to thank the Board of Trustees, Trustee Jim Lubbies, Commissioner Deb Smith, Dr. Iacono, Patrick Enright, and Ariel Panic, my boss. I'd like to acknowledge the past recipients or past inductees of the Hall of Fame. Please raise your hand and stand up when I call your name, please. Jack Martin, class of 2019. Dennis Mack, class of 2019. Bob Lampkin, class of 2022. Earl Dorber, class of 2022. Ed Higdon, class of 2019. Ed Nelson, class of 2019. Jeff Burek, class of 2022. And Roger Stevens, class of 2022. I'd like to take special thanks to Joe Schilp from the media department for doing all the live streaming in the back there. I'd like to thank Jim Chedwigan for all his behind the scenes work that he does for this event. And special thanks to Mary Earl, who has been a rock for athletics for many, many years. At this time, I'd like you to all rise for the playing of our national anthem. Thank you very much. This is a wonderful class we have going in this year. It's great teams, great student athletes, great coaches, great administrators, and some cherished athletic advisors. So we're very, very happy to be here today. None of this would have been made possible without the support. We wouldn't be in the Jack Martin Gymnasium. We would not have the Hall of Fame if Dr. Iacono did not support the athletic department's efforts. So I really appreciate that, as well as the foundation. At this time, I'd like to call Dr. Iacono up to say a few words.
Good evening. Good evening. Okay, I've seen you in the dugouts and I've seen some of you courtside and I've never seen you quiet, so let's not make this night about that. Hardly a somber occasion. It's great to be in a room full of champions in the Jack Martin Gymnasium. How about a round for Jack Martin? He was one of the first individuals that I met when I got here in 2016, was nice enough to introduce himself, and he was a full-fledged legend at that point. I was considered an honor to have the opportunity to interact with him, and he continues to support our college robustly year after year. Jack, thank you so much for that, and it's great having your wife Pam and your grandson joining us this evening also. What an exciting occasion. That's what I thought of. Wow, we get to do this every other year or thereabouts, and to be in a room full of champions who have added so much to this school, have brought so much pride to us, so much notoriety and so forth. I love our athletic programs because I think that great things come from them, right? When we look at the individuals who have played here and what they go on to accomplish later in life is exciting, but how many of you would say, in a show of hands, a lot of the success that you experienced after CCM came about because of your coaches and your teammates? How many of you would say that? Yeah. I mean, the lessons that you learn about self-accountability, accountability to others, excellence, not compromising, are the exact qualities that take you throughout life, and they're the qualities that fuel this school year after year on that. So I'm honored to be here, and I'm excited to see this year's inductees come up to the stage, and there are just some amazing individuals that we're going to have a chance to honor and celebrate this evening as well. Some great people in the room. Jack Sullivan mentioned Trustee Jim Lovies, and sitting next to him is Commissioner Deb Smith. She's also one of our 2 liaisons from county government. So people say a lot of times they come out here, wow, look at the growth, look at the new buildings, the new programs. But let me tell you, the unbelievable amount of support that we get from our commissioners is what fuels that. If you go look at other schools, they're kind of declining or pulling back a little bit, and they ask us, how is that happening? The support we get is absolutely phenomenal. Don't drive past a building or see a program without seeing their fingerprints on that, because we meet and we work really closely together, and they really get the impact of this college on the communities that it was entrusted to serve and the lives that it has been touching. So Commissioner Smith, thank you, and thank you for being with us this evening as well. As I often tell our students, you don't get to see trustees as much as you see your professors, but we have an extraordinary trustee board. Trustee Lovies, thank you for being with us this evening. Jim is newer on the board. He's not the newest, but newer. But I think he already leads our division in most attended athletic events. He is out there supporting our students, cheering for them, and just sharing the excitement of it. But they make some very, very heavy decisions in that boardroom about how we move forward and what we're able to accomplish, and we would accomplish a tiny fraction without them. So, Jim, thank you for being here to represent our board this evening. We appreciate that greatly. And then to see Bette Simmons back, who we're going to recognize behind the scenes, not on the courts or the fields, but sitting alongside cheering for students for decade after decade, and really, really helping put this school on the map, means the world to me. Let me also say, because he's so incredibly modest, Jack Sullivan is a force. Let me tell you, he is remarkably modest. He cares about each and every individual student, cares about the coaches, cares about what we do, and is relentless in advocating for these programs. So I can't tell you tonight it's definitely going to happen, but he has been advocating consistently for an athletic complex, which we think would be enormously exciting. So we're not telling you tonight, don't leave going, they're building an athletic complex. See those buildings? Forget about that. But I do think some of the folks that can help us with that are probably in the room. So watch your emails and watch the news. If we're able to move in that direction, we're going to need support, as we always get with all of our buildings and programs. And let me close simply by saying, on that note, thank you to Kelly Miola and her awesome team. Would you all join me in giving them a round of applause? Our foundation works so hard with athletics to make this possible. And with that, let me just say to our alum who are here this evening, to their family who are here, to our employees who came out here to support as well, thank you so much. We're a great college because of people like you, and your commitment is unwavering and continuous. We see that, and we appreciate it greatly. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Dr. Iacona. On that note, I'd like to invite up the Executive Director of our foundation, Kelly Miola.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Miola and the Executive Director of the CCM Foundation. I'm grateful to have had the chance to meet so many of you this evening and learn about your time here at CCM. You honor us by returning to CCM so that we can recognize your contributions on and off the playing field. One of my favorite moments at CCM last year was being a fan in the crowd at a Titans men's basketball game. It was a semifinal matchup against Middlesex Community College, and the game was tied to the end. With 3.3 seconds left on the clock, CCM student athlete Jagger Reese nailed 2 clutch free throws to break the tie and win the game, sending our Titans to the Region 19 championship. It was an amazing experience to watch the team persevere and fight to the end. Our student athletes deserve nothing but the best because they represent CCM on and off the court and are at the heart of what makes County College of Morris an amazing place to be part of. The CCM Foundation helps to raise funds to support student-athlete scholarships and the athletic department, ensuring that student athletes have access to state-of-the-art equipment and training environments. Donating to CCM's athletic program is a way to give back to the institution that helped shape your own experiences. Supporting the athletic program helps ensure that future generations of students have the same opportunities for personal growth and achievement. In the middle of the program that you have in front of you tonight is a QR code which enables you to seamlessly donate tonight to the CCM Foundation and support our student athletes. We thank you in advance for your support. Congratulations to all of tonight's inductees. And remember, once a Titan, always a Titan. As we kick off the night, we are grateful for the support of our state and county officials. Senator Anthony Bucco regrets that he could not be with us tonight, but sent proclamations and a message for all the inductees that reads as follows. Dear members of the Hall of Fame Committee and the entire CCM family, with great pride and admiration, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to the exceptional athletes, coaches, supporters, and teams being inducted into the CCM Titan Athletics Hall of Fame Class of 2024. This year's honorees represent the highest ideals of achievement, dedication, and sportsmanship, and their accomplishments will forever be etched into the legacy of Titan athletics. We thank Senator Bucco for his support.
Thank you, Kelly. By the way, the Titans will be taking on Middlesex College Tuesday night here in the Jack Martin Gymnasium, 7 o'clock. You're all welcome to come out and support our Titans. So, that being said, we are going to start our program, but I better thank Vice President Vanderhoof, who I omitted earlier, and I always appreciate all your support as well, so I want to make sure I got that one in. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to start the program. Our first inductee is Nic Axelson. I'll let you know when to come up, Nick. This young man is our first golfer to go in. He's an outstanding example of exactly what college athletics is all about. He transferred in from another institution. He found his way here. Coach Jim Chilwigan recruited him relentlessly to come out to the golf team. And when he did, he made a huge difference. 2 region championships, 2 trips to the national tournament, and wardrobe malfunction. A 2-time academic All-American. So this young man not only did outstanding work on the golf course, he did outstanding work in the classroom. And he is just the example we're talking about. He received a scholarship to go to a 4-year school and made a huge impact down there. But that didn't stop there. His success goes beyond. He is one of the examples of a young man who made took advantage of every single opportunity, and his education has got him to an outstanding manufacturing career, and we couldn't be more than proud of what he's doing now. And he's a young man, so there are bigger things to come. I'd like to invite Nic Axelson into our 2024 CCM Hall of Fame.
All right. Very honored to be up here. Thank you, everybody, for putting this together. CCM made a huge difference on my future and ability to move on to another college in terms of education and generally just my life. I want to thank Jack. I want to thank my family and friends that helped me get here. And most importantly, I want to thank Jim Chegwidden for relentlessly, as he said, getting me on this team. He called me 5 different times, and then I finally showed up. So thank you, and good luck to everybody else going forward, and go Titans.
Great job. All right. For our next presentations, I'd like to call Hall of Famer ice hockey coach Mr. Ed Nelson up to make the next 2 presentations. Ed Nelson.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. A lot of the folks here are very happy to see all the smiling faces and the folks who supported them all the way. John Udell showed up here from a large family, and his dad said basically, you want to go to college, figure it out. He did. Came here, he grew up on the Craigmere ski area in Rockaway Township, graduated Morris Knolls High School, came up here and skied the crap out of this place. So without anything further, Johnny, come on up and say a few words. Thank you and congratulations, partner. That's yours.
Good evening. I'm a former County College of Morris student athlete and a longtime member of the Morris County community. I am honored to be inducted and deeply grateful and appreciative of the County College of Morris, Jack Sullivan, Jack Martin, the athletic department, and the Hall of Fame committee. I'm going to dedicate my induction to my mom, Dorothy Murray, and my dad, Stan Udell. If it were not for them, I never would have skied, and their support was unwavering. My career in skiing was comprised of big and small defining moments. The first defining moment occurred when I was a young boy living in Oakland, New Jersey. One evening at dinner, Dad announced that he bought a ski area at Craigmere, he installed a T-bar, and we would be moving there. In 1969, we moved to the ski area, and I learned how to ski. Another defining moment took place post-high school graduation when I received a call from Bill Huber of the County College of Morris, and he said, I want to talk to you about ski racing this winter at CCM. The Nationals are at your ski racing mountain, Great Gorge. I agreed to meet, and then I decided to enroll. We had an incredible team. We placed second in the nation. I was fortunate to become a 3-time All-American, placing second in slalom, giant slalom, and downhill. I was also awarded the Governor's Cup and runner-up in the Ski Meister Award. This defining moment was an amazing experience that enhanced my ski career. After the County College of Morris, I enrolled at Johnson State College in Vermont, and in 1998, I was fortunate enough to be inducted into the JSC Athletic Hall of Fame, and today's induction caps off my very long skiing career. Thank you. Go Titans.
won more than you're done with me. I started coaching here in Jack sometime in the summer of 1974. And when we had tryouts, we had a bunch of goaltenders come out, and somebody says, "You got to see this Polish kid from Newark." He was the Polish kid from Newark. He played his senior year in high school, made All-State. First time he had put skates on, basically. Worked for the Parks Department. Came here. Outstanding. Backbone, 2 solid teams. Went up to New Hampshire College. Was greeted by their then athletic director, P.J. Carlesimo, who didn't have the time of day for us. But he went up there, and 2 years later, he graduated as their male athlete of the year. Since then, he's had the tremendous good fortune of getting married to his beautiful bride, 3 lovely kids, and spending his life in Southern California. From Newark, East Side, Red Raiders, Rich Wojtasiak. And when I first met him, I couldn't pronounce it.
Thank you, Ed. It's always a pleasure coming back to New Jersey. I always look forward to it. It's not always to come back just for Jersey. It's to, I love the food here. My family's Polish. Some of my other families they're Italian, so I always love the Italian food and the Portuguese food. So it's always a great thing to come back for that. I came from a hardworking family. My parents came from Poland. My grandmother worked 7 days a week, and my dad worked 6 days a week. So I knew the value of working hard. I saw that right away when I was a young kid. They sent us to Catholic school, and I think it was more for the discipline. For if I was out of line, that they would go ahead and they would give it to me. I got my ears pulled, my hands slapped, all of that. I wasn't a really good student either. But I just kept going, and that's been the whole thing with my life. I remember my 6th grade teacher, she always told me, where there's a will, there's a way. And I've always carried that forward in life. I remember also as a young kid, I loved sports, baseball, football, and hockey. And when I was a freshman, I was touted to be the starting pitcher for the first game of the season. But one thing got in the way. I had a physical, and I failed it. I had a heart murmur. I couldn't play baseball. And I just, it was just one of those things. In the meantime, we had ironbound ice hockey rink that was built. I started playing ice hockey, and I fell in love with it. We were playing, before ice hockey, we were playing street hockey, and I remember just making makeshift pads, and putting that on. I loved to play goalie. That was my position. And then all of a sudden, they wound up having a high school team, and that was my senior year, and I made All-State. And so the heck with baseball, I went ahead and played ice hockey instead. I didn't know what to do after that, other than the fact that I knew I wanted to go ahead, continue to play hockey somewhere. So I found CCM, or CCM found me. I don't know which one, but I went to CCM, and it was really a culture shock for me, being from Newark and going to CCM, But I had the greatest teammates, and I have several of them here today. Ed, and we have Ward, and then also my coach. So have that support, and we've known each other for a long time and kept in touch. So it was just a great experience for me. I met a lot of people, and then after that I wound up going to school in New Hampshire and played hockey there. Wound up graduating with a degree in accounting, worked for the Boeing company as a manager for like 30 years. Met my wonderful wife, Yvette, and who's really had the hand in raising the 3 kids that we have, beautiful kids, and was just so thankful. And with that, I just want to also thank all of my teammates, like I said, that showed up. And then lastly, I just want to say that to give thanks to the trustees and to the foundation for taking a chance on me to win this award. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm a mess. Our next inductee, Dr. Bette Simmons. "23 years ago, she made the unfortunate decision of hiring an athletic director that stands before you. She is one of the most wonderful, professional, ethical leaders I've ever been associated with. She is, I always thought, the Mariano Rivera of administrators, unflappable, calm. She supported athletics. Literally, you could see her sitting in the bleachers at most home basketball games, holding court, taking care of business, and doing work. I don't think she ever left this campus for 42 years. She is a wonderful leader. I honestly believe that if you kindly look past her one mistake 23 years ago, and we invite her into the Hall of Fame, I'd like to bring her up right now, Dr. Bette Simmons.
Wow, this is a very special award, and I want to thank the Hall of Fame Induction Committee, Jack, Dr. Iacano, other members of the CCM Foundation for my induction. I also want to give a special appreciation to my fellow inductees. I know many of you, and I know that your contributions at CCM through your participation in the athletics program, maybe with the exception of our skier, wasn't skiing when I first started in 1980, but ice hockey definitely was here and was definitely strong at CCM. You all deserve this recognition as much as I do. I also want to give a very, 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 very special thank you to my partner in life, Tyrone, who has allowed me to do everything that I have at CCM. You know, being an administrator of an athletics department, or in any role, quite frankly, is very much like an athletic team. I was the head coach, and I had to have good team players who were a part of my organization so that we could do the work that we needed to do on behalf of our student athletes. I had the wonderful fortune of having 2 amazing directors of athletics, starting with Jack Martin, who taught me a lot about what athletics needed at CCM to continue. And then once he decided to go on to greener pastures and leave CCM behind, although he never left CCM, had the wonderful fortune of finding Jack Sullivan. And along with Jack, other members of the athletics department, Roger, Jimmy, Jeff, so good to see Jeff here, and the many coaches and the assistant coaches and the athletic trainers, and even Sam, wherever he is. These were people who were part of my team and made the work that we did at CCM on behalf of athletics extremely powerful. I am extremely proud of the athletics program that we have built here at CCM. It's wonderful to come back and see it really blossom, and I can't wait, Dr. Iacono, to see that athletic building at some point in our future, at some point.
Turf field.
Turf field, Karen. But nonetheless, it has been a true honor to be a part of the legacy that CCM has in athletics, and I so appreciate that the Hall of Fame committee has bestowed this honor on me. It means so very much to me, and I will cherish every moment of it. Thank you all so very much.
Once again, Dr. Bette Simmons, let's hear it for her. At this time, I'd like to invite Jack Martin up here to make the next few presentations, former athletic director and Hall of Famer from 2019. And you're sitting in the gym that's named after him.
Dean Simmons, congratulations. Very, very happy about this. You deserve very much. Thank you for your work. Tonight we're going to honor posthumously Jack Gallagher, a 37-year member of the CCM counseling staff. I'm welcoming and saying hello to the Gallagher family and friends. Thanks for joining us this evening. Along with serving on the counseling staff for 37 years, Jack also served as a coach for the ski racing team back in the late 80s. He also was a ski club advisor. And in 1985, thereabouts, George Straganetti, the Dean of Students, and I had a chat saying that we needed to get a little bit more help for our student athletes in terms of advisement, because most of the coaches, the majority of the coaches were adjuncts. They were part-timers, they weren't here during the day, and we felt that our student athletes needed a little bit more interaction with academic advising. So George Straganetti said, why don't you go over and say hello to Jack Gallagher, and why don't you guys sit down and put something together? So I went over, and Jack and I talked, and we said, you know, how about if we go out and see if we can get some of our faculty and staff and administrators to volunteer their services to be an advisor for each of our athletic teams? And we said, I don't know if that's going to work, but let's give it a shot. In less than a week, we had 20 volunteer advisors from the faculty, administration, staff, counseling office, financial aid, student activities, Dean of Students office, and so on. So every team had at least 2 advisors that they could go to during the day if they had a need for any academic advisement, talking about transfers, talking about academic course load. And Jack decided that he was going to take that by the bull of the horns, and he was going to say, you know what, let me do this, and I'll coordinate this, I'll take it. And then once a week, Jack said, let me come up to the HPE building, just give me an office, and I'll meet with each team once a week between maybe 2 and 4 o'clock, and we'll sit down and we'll talk. So what this did is help to bridge the gap between the coaches arriving at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and the students not having anyone to talk to during the day. But the war cry came out, go see Gallagher. Yeah, what are you going to do? No, see Jack Gallagher. Well, Jack got overloaded with the responses of people coming to him, not that he ever turned them down, but the war cry was, yeah, you better go see Jack Gallagher. But because of his enthusiasm and because of his support, our student program, our student advisement program really was very, very beneficial to our athletes at that time. Jack and I became very close friends, and tonight with us, besides the Gallagher family, we have the other members of our golf foursome. We've got Steve Warwick and Joe Nazaro. And Jack would be happy to know that we're here. We'll putt out for him. Just a good friend. Went to Ireland with him, with the Nazaro family. Had a wonderful time. And someone said, well, how would you describe Jack Gallagher? I'd say one word with two meanings. He was a gentleman, and he was a gentleman. I'm going to introduce his son Sean to come up and say a few words for the Gallagher family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin, for that wonderful introduction. Especially meaningful to accept it here in the Jack Martin Gymnasium, named after one of CCM's original legends. Mr. Martin has been a great friend of my father for about 50 years. I first want to extend my congratulations to all of you, all the inductees, and it's such an honor to stand among a talented and dedicated group of individuals. And seeing Dr. Bette Simmons, on the list originally brought a smile to my face. He has such respect and enjoyed your company so much that it's great that you're here, that you be here together, if you were still here. My father joined CCM in 1973, just 8 years after its founding. It was still a young institution full of big goals and a mission to empower the students of Morris County. Dad had just finished graduate school, was newly married, and starting a family with my brother and me. He found himself at CCM at the perfect time, ready to grow alongside this community, and he retired here 37 years later. Athletics were about so much more than competition, though, for my father. He believed deeply that education wasn't confined to the classroom. The lessons we learn on the playing field, teamwork, resilience, determination, are just as essential in life as they are on the field. He wanted his students to uncover their strengths, whether on the field, in the classroom, or in their personal lives, and use those strengths to propel themselves to the next stage of life. My father had a special admiration for CCM's athletes. Competing here is unique. You're together for 1 or 2 years, and in that short time, you must gel as a team, learn the systems, and perform at a high level. Dad took pride in the success of so many CCM teams over the years, and be thrilled to see the basketball and softball teams represented here tonight. But being an athlete isn't just about the wins. We've all faced setbacks. The days we sat on the bench when we thought we could play, or when we gave everything we had but still fell short. Dad always taught us that in those moments were just as important to what you learn then as what you learn when you win. He reminded us that resilience isn't about failing, it's about how you rise again. On behalf of the Gallagher family, I want to thank you for this incredible honor. Dad's legacy lives on in the lessons he taught and the lives he touched. He believed in supporting each other through life's ups and downs, in finding strength in adversity, and in always striving for excellence, no matter the circumstances. Thank you for celebrating his life and work tonight. Fight on, Titans.
Jack's going to be staying up here to do the next introduction for Kevin Wise for the men's basketball team.
First of all, let me welcome Kevin Weiss and the Weiss family coming to us from Cape May and Whitesboro, New Jersey. Thank you for joining us. At the County College of Mars, we have had 8 All-American basketball players. Not something easy to accomplish. Over 350 Division II programs in the country. To be nominated as first team All-American by coaches throughout the country is a special honor. Kevin Weiss is a special guy. One of my favorites, selected by the coaches over the 2-year program. He was a quiet leader, always came prepared, was co-captain of our team, respected by his teammates. He scored 973 points in 2 years, which is 6th all-time on our career list. 522 rebounds, which is 3rd all-time. He left us and went to Trenton State, which is now the College of New Jersey, where he also became co-captain. Various honors there. I think all coaches, no matter what you coach, should be fortunate to be able to have someone like him in your program. Just a wonderful young man, great family, worked hard academically, did a great job in his career, and I'm more than honored to bring him up, Kevin Weiss.
Good evening, everyone. First, I would like to just thank my Creator, who blessed me with many skills and talents, but who put the breath in my lungs. I'd like to thank the committee. I would like to thank everyone who came out to share in this occasion, and also those who took the time and hard work to put it together. This is really and truly an honor. My time here at CCM is very special because this is the launching point for the man I've become. And as many of you know, there's a period in your life where you go through that you're not certain of who you're going to become or where you're going to end up. And I can truly say that I discovered myself here, right in this gym, right with this coach, right with my players, and the various other staff and resources that set guidelines and guardrails for who I was to become today. This is where I developed essential skills and characteristics such as confidence and teamwork, determination, all very priceless assets that have propelled me to where I am in my life today. But even more important are the individuals who sacrifice their most valuable asset in life, which is time. The time they gave to pour themselves into myself and my teammates and all those who came before me and all those who will come after me. I'm very fortunate to have a few of those in the room today. And so I don't want to spend time on accolades that have gone in the past with me, but I want to spend time on what they put into my life. So already standing on cue, front and center, is my beautiful mother. I didn't ask her to stand up. My father, who passed away in 2019, I'm sure is standing right beside her. He blessed me with beautiful parents. They were here for road trips, financial stability, those great food packages that arrived at the house when we didn't have anything to eat. Serge can attest to that. The overwhelming and undaunting love and support when I was trying to find myself. The patience. I can't return that to you, but I can say thank you while you breathe your breaths today. Thank you, and I love you for that. Coach Martin, you can step up here so I can see you. I want to say first thank you to his wife, because she sacrificed so much to allow him to be here in the gym with us. I can remember like it was yesterday when I walked in the gym for the first time and seeing Coach with those slender gray sweatpants on. He was known for walking up and down the sidelines, figuring out what he was going to do, what he was going to pour into us next. But I thank him because he gave me the opportunity to be a part of something special here. Because coming out of college, coming out of high school, I wasn't sought after. Matter of fact, they told me I shouldn't even try to go to college, that I should just go to the Army. But Coach gave me an opportunity. Again, he took the time to teach us and guide us as men, give us instruction. He put systems around us, go to class, to show up on time, little things that now are so very important as we grow up as men. I think most importantly, he was a life coach. He set the standard of excellence. When he walked in with his head high, he had a certain amount of pride in those steel blue eyes. When he looked at you, you know he means business. And he got down to business. And I'm so ever grateful that he was put into my life. Thank you, Coach. Just a few more. Jeff Burke, if you would stand up, please. I never knew there were so many uses for this little gadget here. If many of you don't know, this is what they use for a lot of injuries. Jeff was a miracle worker with tape and heat. Because Lord knows I was a walking injury, back, knees, you name it. Jeff was there to make it right and put you together to get you right for that next game. But he also had his door open. He was someone who I felt comfortable and our teammates felt comfortable coming into the door and having a conversation with, just someone who was very down to earth. His heart was always open. He truly loved what he did, and you can just tell because of the effort he put in. And when you went in and sat down, I haven't met a doctor or a physical therapist who was that intense about what they did. He just really poured himself into it. Even to the point where he opened his heart up to try my mom's collard greens, which I think it was the first time he tried. But Jeff, I thank you for everything that you did. Your support was very much appreciated. Sam, if you would stand up. Is he here? Sam worked in the weight room. And when I saw him walking today, I was so surprised, but very happy that he did, because as all of us athletes know, it's the training and the time in the weight room that's most important. When I first walked in the weight room and saw Sam's shoulders, I was like, okay, I gotta learn what this guy is doing. And he took the time out to teach us and go through the routines, which was just, again, very important to become a success as an athlete and as a person. And I thank you for that. It wasn't small. Last not least, but Jim Chegg. Is Jim here? Stand up, please. Jim was just a great supporter, a cheerleader, someone who always had a friendly face. When you walk in, you can have a great conversation with him. And if we lost the game, he would always be there for support. And I didn't know it at the time, but you know, those things are very special, and that support is very important when you're going through the trenches and the tough times. So I just wanted to thank you for that. And my teammates, lastly, none of what we did, and if you could please stand, please, the teammates. None of what was done during my time here could have been possible without my teammates and everyone else that I have mentioned and those who are not here. So I'm standing here because of all those who I've mentioned and some who could not be here today. And I just want to give thanks for those people who are in my life. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
It gives me great pleasure now. Once you sit down, Kevin, we're going to continue. Sit down. Going to introduce the 1990-1991 men's basketball team. This is a team that broke through to gain our first national tournament appearance in Division II. In junior college athletic, there's 3 divisions. Division I, which is full scholarships, Division II, which might give a couple maybe, and Division III, which give none. Getting to a national tournament is extremely difficult. Win your state, win your region, win your district, go to the nationals. This team won 21 straight basketball games. Our first 21 games that we played in that season, we won. We had the second most victories in a season of 27, which is second all time. The team finished their final season record of 26-1. Went to the Nationals, won our first game against a very good team from Michigan. Lost the second game in the semis by 2 points in the last 10 seconds. Didn't do a good job shooting foul shots, guys. We were ranked number 1 in defense in the country, Division II in the final poll. In the final season poll throughout the country, over 300 two-year colleges, in the final season poll, the coaches voted us as the number 1 ranked team in the country. I would be remiss if I didn't mention my assistant coach at the time, Ralph Rotando, who's not with us here tonight, who did a masterful job of recruiting most of the players. When I first met this group, I was like, wow, I got to put some spurs into them because it's a wild group. However, to my pleasant surprise, they brought their lunch pails to work every day, and there was no fooling around. They had tremendous respect for one another. They gave me a little bit of heat once in a while, but not too bad. But they were fun to be around. They were a fun group. They knew how to get serious, and they knew how to have fun, and I thought that was great. They liked each other. They supported one another. What makes me really happy is today, even today, they keep in touch with one another. That's so special. It's so special, not just to me, but to them, that they know where each other is. They call each other, they communicate. That's what going to college and growing friendship is all about, I think. So I'm going to introduce each player, and then when I introduce you and you stand up, when we get done, we'd like you all to come down, follow each other down in front so we can present you with your awards, take your picture, and move on. But as I said before, this is a very special group. Not because they were 27-3, but they were just special. And someone said, well, you know, when you get honored and go to a Hall of Fame, and, you know, what's special? I said, here's what's special in my mind. That you were remembered. That we didn't forget you, that we remembered. It's great to be remembered. That to me is better than a trophy and a plaque, an award. Someone remembered what you did. So without further ado, you'll just stand for me. And by the way, before I go on, sitting with this team, I said before, there's only 8 All-Americans that we've ever had here. Sitting with this team, not a member of this team, but of the following year, and that team went 30-5, is one of our All-Americans, Donald Osborne. Donald, would you stand up for a second? Okay. Introducing the team of 1991, John Leone, Dennis Parrish, Willie Fernandez, Serge, I didn't know you were coming back, Serge. You didn't tell me. Serge Casimir. Carrie Robinson. Aaron Johnson. And Kevin Weiss. Please come up, guys. Let's hear it for him.
Congratulations, gentlemen. At this time, we're going to take a 5 to 10 minute break so we can have coffee, dessert, and the bars are still open on either side. So thank you very much. Okay, before we introduce our next inductee, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and recognize an individual that put a lot of time and effort into the County College of Morris over the years. He was our original foundation director. I'd like to have Dr. Joe Nazzaro please stand up for a round of applause. Dr. Nazzaro, thank you for all your efforts over the years. We really appreciate it. All right, for our next inductee, Greg Wardlow, women's softball. Come on. He's eager to get up here. I remember interviewing Greg many years ago. He came very highly recommended by Bo Scanapico, the Brookdale Community College softball legend. Greg came here. His daughters played at Brookdale. They were outstanding players. Greg recently retired, had a ton of time to dedicate to our program, and he did an outstanding job. Not too much after his arrival here, we were playing Udell, and we seemed to beat them pretty much every time we had a chance. Greg turned the program right around. We had an outstanding group of women come through here year after year. We went to the Nationals. A lot of the ladies are here this evening. But Greg really put time, effort, and everything you would want as a coach into the team, the program, and the department. And we miss him. He is now on the West Coast enjoying retirement. And ladies and gentlemen, Greg Wardlow.
Thanks, Jack, and I'd like to thank the members of the committee. It's certainly an honor to be part of this class. I'm not sure that I belong up here. I'm not sure I'm deserving, especially when you consider the company. Major League Baseball player, Joe McEwing. You got a first-team All-American here, and Katlyn Lloyd. I'm in the company of legendary coaches like Jack Martin and Earl Dorber. I'm not worthy. It's somebody, if you read the programs, it has a little byline in there, but somebody will say, hey, Greg, you won 432 games. So that's why you're in the Hall of Fame. But I have no illusions about that. I was here for 17 years, coached for 17 years. 17 years, you're going to win some games. I might point out also that I have the record for most losses. This was a signal to my grandkids. Every time I touch my ear, they're supposed to laugh in case nobody else does. But, so yeah, 262 losses. The next closest coach, softball coach, has 40 losses. So I got a pretty safe lead there, 222 losses. I think it's a mark that'll last for a pretty long time. But aside from win-loss record, I do take pride in what we built here, the program that we built at CCM softball. I was hired by Jack in 2005. It kind of filled a void in my life because I was a softball dad for many years, like many in here. My two youngest daughters played travel, high school, and college softball, and Katie graduated from college in 2004. 2005 came around, and what am I going to do? So I saw this job, and Jack hired me. I sound really fortunate, but I think I was the only applicant. Not too many people applying for a part-time job that pays less than minimum wage when you consider the hours. But in 2005, I walked into the gym in March. I had 5 kids on the floor who hadn't even played high school softball. So, it was a lot of development. We took our lumps. We were 8-19 in that first season, and it became apparent to me that it's not just the job of walking in the gym. You actually have to go out there and recruit. So I had to become kind of a salesman of sorts at CCM. And there was one obstacle that stood in the way that became obvious to me in trying to recruit kids to come to County College of Morris. And it was kind of like, I think I could sum it up in one word, and that's county. I came to hear conversations about people in high school. Where are you going to school? I'm going to Cornell. How about you? I'm going to William Patterson. Where are you going? Where are you going? Are you going to county? So it was said in kind of a derogatory terms. So I had to kind of fight that. And so I looked around campus at other areas of the school and to find people that were making this place special. How could I do that for softball players? And I witnessed some really great people working here around the CCM campus. People like Bette Simmons and Jack Gallagher, people that I admired and how they did their jobs. And that's what I aspired to do in terms of softball. So we started a bunch of initiatives to try to turn things around, to try to make our program more attractive. We started a spring trip to Florida. We went to Cocoa Beach, Florida every year, which was a good recruiting tool. We also started study halls on campus to keep kids involved in academics. We started a strength and conditioning program in the off season with Coach Rebecca. We did other things to foster chemistry and bonding for the team. We went on bowling outings. We had holiday dinners every year. I'm saying we, I know, because it's not just a one-man job. I've had blessed with some great assistants over the years coming up to our current batch, which includes John Boccolini and Rebecca Jorgensen, Rich Iorio, who's not here today, and a bunch of others through the years. Also been blessed with the administrative staff in athletics, which a big part of my life here, starting with Jack, and he had a pretty great group of support here with Sam Mitchell and Jeff Burek really helped us out. Jim Chegwin and Roger Stevens. Jim was somebody who showed me the ropes, really. Showed me you can't do this, Greg. You can't do that. So Jim was a stickler, but it helped. With all that support, I do want to single out Coach Boccolini, who's here tonight. Coach Bach and I shared a vision in what the softball team should be. John was instrumental in taking us to another level. Both he and I transformed the softball office on the lower floor down here. We made it kind of a welcome center for our athletes, that they had a home away from home, so to speak. We had a microwave, a refrigerator, we had a coffee pot, and John's wife, Colleen, kept our cabinets stocked with all kinds of snacks. Some of them not very healthy, but the players enjoyed them. So, that was the intent, was to build a team or build a program that could compete with the four-year programs in the area, the four-year schools like William Patterson and FDU. We wanted to provide an experience for softball players that was special. And, that was my sales pitch anyway, and we have a group of 2019 parents out here, and they obviously bought that sales pitch because they sent their daughters here. So I kind of hope that, it was a success. It was a good move on their part to come here. I also take pride in the academics of the kids and the careers that they're on. I mean, we have so many, that even in this group tonight, that have gone on to get their four-year degrees, advanced degrees, master's degrees. We have psychologists, teachers, a bunch of nurses out in the field. And we stay in touch with alumni. We built a social media platform that stays in touch with alumni. We had players back from Earl Dorber's team in 1990 that came to an alumni game here a few years back. So we've tried to stay in touch. We tried to build that softball alumni network. Just got a text a couple of weeks ago from Kim Van Savage, who just passed the bar exam in New Jersey. So she may be our first attorney from the softball program. And, I have two of my four daughters here tonight, my grandson and granddaughter, Kristen, Katie, Romian, and Rockland. I would have had a bunch more, but if I took the rest of my family here, it would have cost another $1,800 at $150 a pop, in addition to some airplane tickets. So I kind of said, hey, it's going to be on TV, live, so if you're out there, this is your acknowledgement. Sarah, Lisa, Jennifer, Annabelle, Brennan, Megan, Ben, Violet, Clayton, Christine. Did I get everybody? Riken. No. Okay, so anyway, I want to thank you, everybody, again. I want to thank Jack. This has certainly been fulfilling for me. It's been a labor of love. I enjoyed my time here. I miss it right now for sure, but thank you.
That's all right. Notes. Mary? So Greg is going to be staying up here for a little bit to introduce our next few inductees. Right now he'll be introducing Mary Mastriani.
Mary Mastriani, it's my pleasure to present her induction into the Hall of Fame. Mary has the all-time record for victories for CCM as a pitcher with 43. She had a fantastic 2-year career here, Pitcher of the Year in Region 19. She led our team to the first region championship in 25 years since Earl Dorber's team in 1991. So in 2016, we advanced to the region playoffs, and Mary led our team. Not only led our team, but we had 2 top pitchers that year, but our number 2 pitcher, Megan Januzzi, suffered a shoulder injury. So we really depended on Mary down the stretch. First round of the playoffs, she threw 2 8-inning games, 2 extra inning games, won them both. We advanced to the championship game where we had to beat Del Tech, and we lost the first game to Del Tech, and Mary pitched, and our backs were to the wall. She came back and pitched the second game. We're losing in the bottom of the 7th by 1 run, and we had 1 out single and a walk-off home run by Brianna Simcoe, and we advanced to at least the districts. We won the region for the first time in 25 years. Mary then, graduated from here. She went on, and one of our handful of players to play Division I softball after here. She went on through a scholarship to St. Peter's University, where she was the ace of their staff, and then eventually graduated from Ramapo. Mary recently married, and congratulations on that. So anyway, Mary Mastriani.
It's such an honor to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank Dan, Ellie, and Sam for watching live from the cameras over there. Thank you. I'd like to thank my coaches, Greg, Bach, and Rich. You guys are truly amazing people. I'd like to thank my family, my mom and my dad. You're truly the backbone of my success here at CCM. Your love and belief in me have made all the difference. It truly feels like a different lifetime, even though it was only like 7 years ago. I will always love CCM. I know like county does get judged, but it was truly like the best decision I've ever made. I'll always be a Titan, and I'll never regret it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, the next induction is for Katlyn Lloyd. I'm going to start out with somewhat of a biased statement. I know I've only coached here 17 years and maybe witnessed softball here for the last 20 years, and maybe there are some others like Earl and Jack Martin who've witnessed some players down the road, but I don't see how anybody could have been a better softball player than Katlyn Lloyd. I think she's the best to ever play here at CCM. And I can give you some stats to attest to that. I think they're in your handout program, but she has lifetime records here at CCM, hits 160, but just to point out, the next closest person has 124. She has 150 runs scored in her career. Next closest person, 104. 28 home runs lifetime, leads CCM. Next person has 15. She leads in triples with 14. Stolen bases, 73. Next closest person, 54. She leads and has the most RBIs, and that's tough for a leadoff hitter. 108 RBIs all time. She only leads that by 1 because Nicole Katlyn, another member of the 2019 team, has 107. Katlyn is what baseball people would call a 5-tool player. She hits for average, fields well, throws well, hits for power, and runs like a deer. She can do all those things. She's always been the strongest and the fastest kid, not only on our team, but in the region. She's a first-team All-American. When we went to Mississippi for playing against the best teams in the country, there was a home run derby competition, and Katlyn Lloyd, she get to swing at 10 pitches, and you have to try to hit them over the fence. Katlyn hit 9 of 10 pitches over the fence in home run derby. The next closest player of all the teams out there hit 5 in that first round. Katlyn advanced to the finals. It took me 2 years to work on her, to recruit her to play here. First year out of high school, I tried, didn't work. Next year, I sat down with Katlyn and her mom in her kitchen, and I guess my sales pitch finally worked. So she came here, and certainly I was fortunate. CCM was fortunate to have such a great athlete, and not only a great athlete, but a great team player, a hard worker, a good student, great student, and she's just somebody that you love to have on the team. I was fortunate, CCM was fortunate. Katlyn, come on up.
Good evening. I had no idea I was going to have to do this, but we're here. I wanted to take a moment to thank my coaches, especially Coach Wardlow, because if it wasn't for him, I would not be standing here where I am today. He was the one who pushed me to come and play for CCM, with many conversations to finally getting me to jump on board. It was the best decision I have made. Since a little girl, I've always dreamed of playing softball in college, and let me tell you, dreams do come true. CCM was the best years of my life. Class was class, but the only thing I could ever think about was getting to that diamond each and every single day to get better and better and play or practice the game I love the most. A big shout out to my family, the ones watching, the ones who never missed a game, especially my parents, the parents who did everything for me. Days in, days out, rain or shine, snow or rain, they were watching their girl. They were the real MVPs, and without them, I wouldn't be the woman I am today, without their help and support. To my teammates, my sisters, thank you for all the countless memories, laughs, wins, sweat, and tears. We did this together as one team and one family. And a special honor to my mom. My angel from above, who was my #1 fan. Through sickness and battles, she was always there on the sidelines no matter what.
Okay, my next task up here is to make a presentation to the 2019 team, which went to the World Series for the first time for a CCM softball team, once again since Earl Dorber in 1991. 2019 team, I'm going to call them up individually in a minute or two. I just want to give you a little background of the season, if I may. I believe they exceeded expectations. Our 2018 team was very good, but we lost some key players, so expectations weren't that high. We came back from Florida 8-5. We had we then had some success up north, but we won some, lost some. highlight of March was a doubleheader against Herkimer from upstate New York. Herkimer was ranked number 2 in the country. They came down to our field for a doubleheader. And on that day, Nicole Carter, one of our 2 pitchers, pitched a shutout, a 2-hit shutout in the first game against a number 2 ranked team. I think we beat them 3-0, something like that. Second game, Kelly Faber started, didn't have her best stuff, but we were tied 4-4 after 5 innings, and Nicole Carter came back in again. Nicole Carter started in the 6th inning. The game went 10 innings. She pitched 5 shutout innings against Herkimer, and we won in 10 innings. And then it was 5 shutout hitless innings. So on the day, Nicole Carter threw 12 innings of 2-hit shutout ball against the number 2 team in the country. She was named the NJCAA National Player of the Week that week. We wound up with a 20-9 record in early April, and on April 4th, then began probably the best streak of softball in my 17 years for sure. We won 20 straight games between April 4th, right through including the playoffs. Not only did we win 20 games, but our 1-2 pitching staff of Kelly Faber and Nicole Carter gave up 14 total runs in 20 games. 12 shutouts in those 20 games, 4 other games where we gave up only 1 run. We outscored our opponents 138-14. I want to add there were no cupcakes on that schedule. They were all D1 and D2 teams that advanced to the district championship. On our field, it was the best out of 3 against a strong Mercyhurst team. I'll never forget, they came on a bus. They were so overconfident. They came down and they were dancing in front of their dugout, and that kind of annoyed us a little bit. But in the first game of the best of 3, they kind of beat us up. 8-3, they hit 3 home runs. So it seemed to be a good reason for their overconfidence. In game 2, we turned to Kelly Faber. Kelly, at that time, was 20-0, undefeated. And she was pitching game 2 of the best of 3. We won that game, but it was a come-from-behind effort. We're backs were to the wall. It was the 6th inning. We're down by 2 runs, bottom of the 6th, 2 outs. So we have 4 outs left. I'm starting to rehearse my consolation speech at third base. What am I going to tell these kids when the game is over? But Hannah Bryzak poked a single. Sierra Lyons worked out a walk. And then Katlyn Lloyd, 3-run home run. We went on to win that game, and then we won the 3rd game to advance to the World Series. It was a tremendous season. So I want to acknowledge the kids. I'll call them up one at a time. I'll start with the catcher, Alyssa Borazan. Alyssa, probably the most versatile player I ever coached. She was an outfielder pitcher in high school. We came here, we needed a strong catcher. Alyssa converted to a catcher. She then went on to Montclair State. She wound up pitching. She was their starting shortstop. She played anywhere on the field. Then our double play combination, freshmen who helped us out up the middle, Sierra Lyons and Jay Deaver. Not here tonight is our 3rd baseman and RBI machine and vacuum, Nicole Catalina, couldn't make it tonight. Our first baseman is Jonalyn McLean. Jonalyn, she was surprised. I call her the warrior because she suffered a hand injury, a kind of significant hand injury early in the season, and or before the season started. So she had a tough time even swinging a bat. But she hung in there, she persevered, she played when a lot of other kids wouldn't. Jonalyn was a great first baseman for us. In left field, we had Hannah Bryzak, who had that key hit for us in that playoff game. In right field, we had Jenna Ricciardi, Jenna with a G. Jenna was our glue guy, so to speak. She kept us loose in the dugout, the team clown, but a real good softball player. It really helped us out. Our center fielder, Katlyn Lloyd, who we've already talked about. pitching staff, which, amazing. I told you about how they did in that 20-game stretch and all season. Kelly Faber and Nicole Carter. And I want to call up our coaches, John Boccolini, who I mentioned before. John, come on up. Rebecca Jorgensen, our strength and conditioning coach. Come on up, Rebecca.
I'd like to bring Jack Martin back up here again for the next inductee. We're going to be inducting Coach Dennis Morgan.
This next gentleman I'm about to introduce has over 53 years of coaching experience at the high school, 2-year college, 4-year college, and professional baseball experiences. 87 of his former players signed professional baseball contracts. 50 were pitchers. I thought he had the longest tenure of part-timers here at 17 years until Greg Wardlow just told me he had 17. So I wasn't aware of that. Congratulations to both of you for giving CCM 17 years of your professional life. Thank you very much. Over his 17 years on the baseball staff, working with Paul Kiernan, Lee Seras, and his own program, he was part of 442 wins and 173 defeats for a 72% winning average, which is phenomenal. He was part of 7 regional championships with 6 runners-up. In his 17 years, he never had a losing season. I remember Coach Kiernan, who was honored 2 years ago, running into my office one day when we had a vacancy on the staff. He said, "Jack, what? We just got Dennis Morgan to coach with us." He was almost crying with enthusiasm. We got the best baseball coach in the area, who was a pitching coach legend, and we couldn't have been happier. He's extremely respected in the Northeast for his pitching knowledge and background. He's a true gentleman. Loved to have him on our staff. When I was here, I never had to worry about anything with our baseball program with Dennis Morgan. Everything was taken care of in a professional, first-class way. Your son and daughter would be privileged to have played or been guided or coached by Dennis Morgan, a true gentleman. Present to you, Dennis Morgan.
Thank you, Jack. I didn't know I was that good. By the way, congratulations to all of the inductees tonight and everyone who's had something to do with this. For me, this is a night of gratitude, as I suspect it is for all of us who are being inducted. Doubly so because I get to be inducted with Joe McEwing. That's a special thing in my life. Joe was a special player here at CCM, but so have been a good many other kids. That's not the reason that I feel special being inducted with Joey. My initial meeting with Joe and his family 34 years ago until now has set him apart. He's quintessentially the person that all of us would like to be. He's the son in whom we delight. I got to know his mom and dad and how proud they would be. I wish that they could be here tonight. He's also the teammate that all of us admire. He's selfless. He makes us proud just to know him. And I know there's a lot of people in each of our lives that we want to thank, what have you, but I speak now for his teammates. What a joy it was to have a Joe McEwing on his squad. Thank you, Joe. I want to recognize some special people in my life. Can't recognize everyone who contributes to an athletic career, but first and foremost, family. Family provides the most important relationships that each of us have in our life, and support from a family is requisite if coaching is going to be meaningful. It demands family sacrifice. It demands time, as somebody else said, that can never be reclaimed. And so I point to my wife and my family who are here tonight and say a special thank you to Susie. I'm going to ask them to stand just momentarily if they will, because they're that meaningful to me. My sons, Tim and Sim, and Carrie is not here tonight. My daughters, Christy and Samantha, their husbands and wives, Jen, Jess, Janet, Josh, and my 17 grandchildren. I'm indebted to God for bringing you into my life. The second group, of course, my players. For a few vibrant days and weeks when we were young, we immersed ourselves so completely in the physical and emotional struggle of competition that the experience has forever bonded us. The mere mention of a game or a circumstance all those years ago brings back that lost time of our youth. And though we cannot again do what was once so visceral and central to our being, neither can it ever pass into nothingness or be lost. I think that's true of accomplishment generally, that the good Lord doesn't love me for whom I was, but for who I am. But a large part of who each of us are right now is the result of who we were. In addition to those two groups, I have three persons I would like to recognize. The first is my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. King Solomon, the man who wrote the biblical book of Proverbs, wrote, "Men make their own plans, but the Lord decides where we will go." Standing here tonight, I'm aware that accomplishment is much the result of circumstances I didn't control and couldn't control. And so I simply am grateful for what he's done for me and praise his sovereign name. The second person is Paul Kiernan. Paul's a member of this Hall of Fame and the coach who hired me to CCM. I was not here when Paul was inducted. I wish so much I could have been, because I've wanted over these years to say a few things about Paul. He never treated me like an assistant coach, always made me feel that we were partners. He wanted to improve the baseball program and always asked for my input. We decided that first year together to make 3 changes. We wanted to increase the number of games that were played. We wanted to recruit outside and beyond Morris County. And by the time I left here, we had recruits from Ohio, Minnesota, Florida, Connecticut. Recruiting was taking a lot of time. And we had recruits from 17 different counties here in New Jersey. That spring, we won our first Region 19 baseball championship and established ourselves as a nationally recognized program. So if any one person is ever recognized for the caliber of baseball here at CCM, it should be Paul Kiernan. Finally, the third person is not here tonight. I again wish he could be. He's in California with one of his children. John Vuz was an integral part of the baseball program here for only 5 years. He had played professionally with San Francisco, and afterwards he was employed regularly by Major League Baseball for their tryout camps and such. He was the batting practice pitcher for the Yankees for 3 years. Unlike so many coaches who sometimes flaunt expertise and experience, John was a paragon of humility and grace. Players loved him. John had a sincere interest in their welfare. Coaching baseball was never about John Vuz. It was always about the players. As a result, they held him in high esteem. Leaving CCM in 1996 was, for me, difficult. But nothing made it more agonizing than breaking my coaching relationship with John Vuz. I wish you could know John. Finally, I wish to make an invocation for all of you. I want you to understand how well I've been treated by umpires, coaches, administrators, support staff, but mostly by my players. So I wish that God allows you in your relationships with one another to be treated the way I've been treated as a baseball coach. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
To induct our next 2024 inductee, I'm going to call up a 2022 inductee to the CCM Hall of Fame, Jeff Bjork, 30-year plus athletic trainer.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to start off tonight with a little bit of baseball trivia. Who can tell me who was on third base when Mark McGwire hit home run number 70, setting a new major league mark? Joe McEwing, very good. See Jack Sullivan for a free drink. You got that. Now, I've had people ask me from time to time, how good was Joe McEwing? I said, well, Joe was pretty good. And then I start to give them some numbers of Joe's career here. In 1992, Joe had a season-long batting average of .495. That's, I believe, is still a school record. .495. Lifetime batting average of .408 here at CCM. Was an All-American in 1992. Joey was drafted by the Cardinals in '92 after leaving here at CCM. Called up to the Major League team in 1999. Joey's rookie year set a team record for hitting streak by a rookie, 25 consecutive games. Yes, 25 consecutive games. And he broke the record of Hall of Famer Stan Musial, who held that record. All right? I also read somewhere that Joey had 230 games of errorless baseball in the outfield. Now, I read this on the internet, so I don't know how true that is. But Joe maybe can fill us in on that one. So I think Joey established a pretty good career here at CCM, and I think it really got him noticed. Called Super Joe by his teammates because he played every position except pitcher and catcher. And I think he would have pitched and caught if he was asked to do so. Now, all these things, I tell people that, yeah, Joey was an outstanding player here at CCM, legendary player. But when I think of Joey's career here, I don't think of the numbers or the records, right? I think of the kind of player that he was, okay? Intensity, 110% all the time. A never quit attitude. Just outstanding character on and off the field. It's been said to me many times that no one has more heart than Joe McEwing. Now, I believe that Joey's career here, the stats he put up certainly got him noticed, but I think it's his other attributes of his that put him to the next level and got him to the major leagues, right? Joey had quite a lengthy career as a player, as a coach, as a bench coach, as a minor league manager. Some people say overachiever, maybe. I just think this man was dedicated, devoted to succeed, and his hard work and perseverance got him where he is. So please join me in recognizing Joe's career here and welcoming him to the County College of Morris Athletic Hall of Fame.
Great job.
Yeah, we got to take a picture.
Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for all the kind words. It's extremely humbling. It really is. I apologize. I'm emotional. It's because I care. I care. I'm extremely honored. I'm humbled to be standing up here with all and receiving all this accomplishment with so many amazing individuals. One I'm extremely proud of, so congratulations to each and every single one of you. Gotten to witness the basketball club during our time here, and congratulations. I still believe we beat you in intramural. Our baseball team beat you guys in intramurals afterwards. But no, again, I'm extremely honored. I'm humbled. My time at CCM, I'm extremely grateful for because it set the tone, it set the foundation of not during my time just here, but as the man I stand here now that I am. And I'm what's amazing about life, certain years that go by, it's the friendships and the memories that are created during this period of time, okay? There's so many familiar faces, friendships, memories, teammates, coaches that are still so strong to this day and have such an impact on who I am, my family. So I'm going to get to that in a second. I know I'm rambling. I'm going to get back to that. But as I look around and see and have conversation with so many familiar faces here tonight, just please know, everywhere I've gone throughout my career, your handprints or footprints are all over me. You guys have such a huge impact, and if it's not for every single one of you guys, I wouldn't be standing here receiving this award. And again, I'm thankful. Jeff, who who passed on the award to me, what individuals don't realize, if it wasn't for Jeff, I might not be drafted at all. 2 weeks before we go to regionals, I step on the side of a base, tear every ligament in my ankle. So Jeff and I and Coach Morgan, we came up with a plan, like, what are we gonna do here? Like, I got to be ready, because I don't know about the school aspect of it. I was here to play baseball. It wasn't, and I apologize, I wouldn't say that to my daughter, but I was here to play baseball and not focus truly on academics. So I said, Jeff, what are we gonna do here? We gotta get this right. So I get back out, and after the regionals, draft was right after that. So we came up with a plan, X-ray, MRIs. They're like, we're gonna cast it. And I go, no chance. True story. I said, and Jeff's like, I think we should cast it. You're gonna be done. I said, no chance. No chance. Let's get it right. Let's try to do best we possibly can. And we were MacGyver out there for the regionals, and we taped, we did everything possible to get me on the field, and I'm truly grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Chegs, thank you again for always being there and being such a huge part of this as well. Mr. Martin, truly grateful. Thank you. And our rock, the reason why we were so successful was the individual that stood here before me, and I would never try to duplicate that speech because it was impactful, it was powerful, and I learned from it. Coach Morgan, he, from day one, set the foundation of who we would become as a team. Not only as a team, but as a player, as a person on and off the field. He taught us how to be pros, go about it the right way. And I remember this. Two quick stories when I first got here. I thought I was cool, had double earrings, like, Joe, who do you think the individuals are that are looking at you to draft you to further your life? They're not an 18-year-old kid with earrings. I said, got it, understood, took my earrings out. That was the last I have ever had of the earrings. And this resonates to me to this day, and I say this for anyone in any line of any profession, any line of life. It's easy to show everyone what you can do when the lights are on, right? Everyone's looking at you. Yeah, I'll go do the work. But when always go about your business like somebody's watching. And Coach Morgan always said that. He said, somebody's always watching no matter what you're doing. And he said there could be a scout, there could be a parent, and it's a direct reflection of how you go about it as an individual, as a teammate, as a player. So when I get drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals, I received calls and letters from probably about 20-some teams, and St. Louis wasn't one of them. And when I received the call, I said, first of all, I'm fulfilling a lifetime dream here, so I'm truly grateful. Thank you. I said, during the whole process, I've never heard from anyone from St. Louis. I said, why me? Why'd you choose me? And two things. First thing was, I knew you were hurt, but you went out there and battled and grinded for your teammates every day. And thank you again, Jeff. So, and I followed up with the question, did it hurt me that I was hurt? He said, no, it only helped you. It didn't matter how you would have performed. We would have took you anyway for your character and what you have inside. So, and the second one was, I said, I'd never received a letter from you guys. Again, why me? He said, I came to about a week full of practices, and I hid in the trees right here on the side. I wanted to see how you went about your business when there was no game, when the score didn't count, when you were a teammate, the way you worked, and the way you led and connected other individuals together. And he goes, that's what made you so special. So again, it didn't matter what you did on the field, those last couple weeks, I just wanted to see how you were as an individual and your toughness, and that's why I am standing here to this day. Jeff, Coach Morgan, you sent that foundation, you brought us together, our teammates that are here, truly grateful for you. Much love. The 2 years we had here were extremely special. And like I said, it doesn't matter about all the accomplishments in the game that I've been grateful enough to achieve. It's about the friendships and the memories. My teammates, truly, truly grateful. Thank you. And we still stay in touch to this day. To my family, I'm going to go off the board here because they say, they try to put labels on everything. My mom and dad, Terry and Rick, thank you. Thank you for your continued support, your love, support, amazing cooking, thank you. And they say, I get in disagreement with my wife about this all the time. It's not your brother-in-law, it's your sister-in-law. No, it's not. They're my brother, my sister, Blake, Kristen. Two of the most amazing human beings in this planet. My mom, who could not be here, but she's here in heart. My dad, who's looking up above, looking down. I know he's proud. My son, who's on his own journey right now, becoming a better individual, not just for us, but for everyone involved. Our daughter Grace, who is in attendance. She is a freshman at St. Joe's. Our other daughter, Ashlyn, who's in a soccer tournament, she cannot attend. She's in a soccer tournament in Virginia. And our miracle, our five-month-old daughter, and I'm sure everyone's looking like, what are you babysitting? No, that's our daughter, Evelyn. She's 5 months old. It's truly a blessing. And my wife. The one that inspires me to be a better individual every single day and not settle for less. There's not enough words to describe my feelings and what she means to me every day on a daily basis. I learn and grow from her every day that truly makes me a better person, not just in my profession, in society, but as a husband. My wife, I cannot thank you enough. There's not enough words. Courtney, I love you, and thank you. Thank you for all your love, your support. I can't say it enough, and I'm sorry if I'm taking too much time, but she's throwing it on. The friendships and memories again. James, Wes, my two besties, like we've 24 years. We're still so tight. I'm gonna leave it with this. Individuals come in your life for a reason and a purpose. We might not know it in the moment, in the time. Wes came to county in the fall of '91. Went away to play basketball at St. Francis his freshman year. Didn't like it. Came back. Came to county. Played baseball the fall season. Rolled up in his bougie big body Benz, and we're like, who the heck is this kid? And right away, took him in as a friend, as a brother, and we remain so tight to this day. The impact, to understand the impact that Wes has, not just on me standing here right now, because I don't believe, like, in the grand scheme of things, all this would be possible if it wasn't for him. So Wes comes in, I'm gonna try to go quicker now. Wes comes in, our sophomore year, 91 in the fall, hits 7 home runs in the fall, which is unheard of. And he's the starting second baseman going into the spring. Wes becomes ineligible, okay? So the domino effect of that is, I was playing center field, I come in and play shortstop, our shortstop moves over to second base. I get drafted as a shortstop and not a center fielder. So if he wasn't ineligible and we weren't able to make that move, I might not be standing here right now. So as we go through this later on, we stay close, tight. Wes moves to the Philly area. After the season, we're away from our families so much that when I'm home, I just want to be home. I want to be present. I want to enjoy every moment with my family and just be there. So this day, this day, I go into Philly. Do testing at University of Penn. Wes is working for Clear Channel. In Philly, he says, meet me for lunch. I'm like, no. I'm getting in, I'm getting out, I'm going home. Got to get the kids off the bus. No, just meet me for lunch. Meet him for lunch. We're sitting there having lunch. Glance over my shoulder, I'm like, oh, she's pretty hot. She's beautiful. And that is the day I met my wife. That magical day, my wife, thank God, came over to me. She was lost for words. I said, sit down, relax, and here we are to this day. And so without Wes being in my life for so many reasons, brought me my beautiful wife, our blessing of a child. So truly grateful, thank you. And to complicate this even more, our daughter Grace and his son Logan live in the same dorm at St. Joe's right now. So it all goes full circle. Sorry to talk so long. My wife is gonna probably kill me, but I'm truly grateful for every single one of you. I love you. Thank you.
All right. For our final inductee, it just goes to show what an outstanding class we have in the class of 2024. We have legendary coaches, legendary student athletes, administrators, and friends. This next gentleman was another one of our baseball coach legends here at CCM. His career here at CCM is impeccable. It spans from his time coaching region champions to scouting for the Cincinnati Reds, Toronto Blue Jays, and Tampa Bay Rays. But 36 years ago, he was assistant coach down at Fairleigh Dickinson University, where he ran into a 20-year-old version of me who was transferred in from Ithaca and thought I was something special. Well, his attitude adjustment and tough love really made a lasting impact on me and throughout my rest of my career as well as a coach. So without further ado, I'd like to thank Coach Seras for his tough love and bring him up for the induction to the CCM Hall of Fame.
Well, when Jack called me, got in touch with me a couple of months ago and say I was being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I said, wait a minute, back in 2019 we had a ceremony where the team, the 85 team that Dennis and I coached that went to the World Series in Grand Junction, Colorado, finished third in the country. Weren't we inducted then? I said, do you have to fill another space on the Hall of Fame wall or what? You know, I appreciate being here, really. And it's my wife Carol and I are really blessed and privileged to be here amongst all the many CCM personnel being recognized tonight. And congrats to all of you again. And more deeply, believe it or not, tonight I think is really a tribute to CCM itself and its founding pioneers in the late 60s who established a strong, well-respected, and consistent institution. Imagine, 56 years ago, if my math is correct, and there's only been 3 presidents. Dr. Iacono, carrying on now, third one. 2 ADs, Jack Martin, who established a well-respected and complete athletic program, and carrying on today by Jack Sullivan, obviously. And little known fact, when Jack started the program back in '68, he was the first baseball coach here. Little known fact. He quickly found out he was better suited to the bigger round ball than the smaller round ball. And he had a great career, obviously, and I applaud Jack for his career and establishing this program, just unbelievable. And CCM, through its extensive and applicable offerings, has allowed its attendees over the years to enhance their current job performances, given an opportunity to high school graduates to start their college careers at a modest fee with the hopes of transfer to a 4-year school, and certainly to the student athletes, give them an opportunity to play early on in their careers and possibly move on to a 4-year career through a scholarship or, as we've heard, professional opportunities. So, and also to allow coaches to develop their skills for possible advancement. So CCM deserves a great deal of credit for being here and being consistent for so long with its leadership and so many offerings that it has for people over the years. I was a long-time educator at Morris Knolls High School. I spent 39 years there full-time, then 14 more years as a sub, 53 years there at Morris Knolls. And during that time, I started my baseball career in 1968. I was asked by the late Richard Dyson to coach the Wharton Legion. So here I was, a 21-year-old graduate from Muhlenberg College who played football, baseball, was a history major, Dr. Iacono, and I get to coach the Wharton Legion. Here I'm a 21-year-old guy. Now I'm coaching 17 and 18-year-old excellent athletes from Morris Hills, Morris Knolls, Roxbury, Morris Catholic. Coaching was easy because I found out that great players make good coaches. And then that career at Wharton lasted through 1973. In the middle of that, 1971 was a big year. My wife Carol and I get married. all right? She was a freshman at Muhlenberg when I met her. I was a senior. And after our honeymoon, we came back and resumed coaching the Wharton Legion team. And she was a scorekeeper. And we seemed always to have enough runs to win most of our games. And we finished in the state finals. We finished third. And then that fall, I was coaching freshman football at Morris Knowles. And the freshman team went 9-0. And 3 years later, as seniors in '74, 50 years ago this month, they were 9-0 again and state champions. And my wife said to me, "You have a lot of great players playing for you." That goes back to my first thought of Wharton Legion. Great players make good coaches. I'm thankful for that. So I was also an assistant history teacher, as I said, at Morris Knowles, and assistant football coach, as indicated. And then I went into college coaching, and I'll tell you that story in a minute. And then ultimately, my career was capped by my current job as a professional baseball scout. In 2000, a guy named Chris Buckley, Dennis Morgan, where did he play? Is Dennis here? Is he still? Where did Chris Buckley play, Dennis? Where did he attend school and play? Right here, right? Under Paul Kieran and Dennis in '79 and '80, okay? He calls me up. Chris Buckley was the scouting director of the Toronto Blue Jays, and he had some remembrance of what our teams did here in the '80s. He calls me up in 2000, asked me if I wanted to be a scout. I said, well, I really can't be a full-time scout because I have to still teach and make my pension where I could live off of. He said, well, we'll give you a part-time job. So he got me in scouting. And then he went to the Reds in 2006, and he took me with him as a full-time scout with the Reds. I said, oh my goodness, the thrill of the hunt. He must have recognized the fact when I was here, was able to recruit great players to make me a good coach. And hopefully that would transfer into scouting, where great signs would make a good scout. So I've been with the Reds since 2006. I'm still with them down in the Carolinas, and still enjoying the thrill of the hunt. Getting back to my college coaching, at Morris Knowles, I became the head coach in 1974, and I found out that I had some good players, but not a lot of good players, like I had in Legion Ball from 4 high schools. I had to take the kids I had from Morris Knowles High School, and that was it. But we had some good players. We had some moderate success. But I said, I got to get more players so I can be a better coach. So I began to search for a college baseball job in 1974 when I took the job at Morris Knowles down through 1981. And I had become a little bit frustrated by the search for baseball, a bigger college baseball job. And we had some family issues. And in March of 1981, I followed my wife's path, which she had chosen in December of 1979. She said, give your issues to the Lord above. I made a decision of faith in March of '81. I gave my life over to the Lord God and my Savior, Jesus Christ. 3 weeks after that, I got in an altercation with a player on the field. I was fired from my job at Morris Knowles. I said, God, I gave my life to you 3 weeks ago. Everything's supposed to be a bed of roses. But little did I realize that was the first of a continuing and ongoing lifetime tests of faith. That August, I was coaching college baseball. Somerset County College, now Raritan Valley. They didn't have a good program. They were in existence for 8 years. They had never won more than 8 games in any 1 year. So I went down there. Augie Esso, the late Augie Esso was the AD. I thought it was going to go like that to me. You have a pulse. You have the job. Because they were looking for anybody to lead them. So a good player from Morris Knowles who played for me and graduated in 1980, and he had gone to Starkville, Mississippi to play for a legendary coach. Who was it? Who was the great coach? Coach Ron Polk. John McDonald went down there and played, and he came in Buck Showalter and a few other famous players. And he said he came back and said, I'll be your assistant. So he came down, and some coaching rivals of mine in New Jersey had some kids who had gone away to big schools, didn't like it, came back mid-year, and we put together a pretty good team. We were 20-17, the first winning season in their history. 2 years later, we make the regional tournament, and at the end of that third season there, we had to come up and play the County College of Morris. And my trainer and my assistant coach were going to bring him up because I was right here at Morris Knowles. He said, I'll meet you at the field. We beat County College 12-8. First time they ever beat County College Morris. They took the kids back to Somerset County. I went home. I get a call that night from the Somerset County College Police. Said, Coach, you know all those beautiful horse farms up on I-78 down by Trump's residence, you know? There's about 10 mailboxes knocked over. We think your team had something to do with it. I said, what? So I called my assistant coach. What happened? Coach, they were so happy about being Morris, they made us stop the band, just with bats out of the bat bag. Coach Seras says to attack down through the ball. Mailbox. Now I'm going to lose this job. Oh my goodness. So oddly enough, as God had it in his plan, Paul Kiernan decided to step down from his job here. I called my fellow Whartonite and fellow Morris Hills alum, Jack Martin, and interviewed for the job, and he offered me a job here. Dennis agreed to stay on, and we became basically co-coaches. And some kids transferred up from Somerset County College with about 8 kids, combined with what they had coming back, and with kids we were recruiting. We went to the Junior College World Series that year in 1985. Finished 3rd in the nation out of 10 teams. There was only one division of junior college back then. So we were 3rd in the nation out of 10 teams. We had to play San Jacinto Junior College, who won 5 out of 6 titles when they were there in the 80s. We missed their better players. A couple years before 85, a guy named Roger Clemens pitched for San Jacinto. A couple years after we were there, our last time in 87, they had a guy named Andy Pettit pitching for San Jacinto. So that's the kind of team we were playing. And like I said before, great players make good coaches. In the 1985 series, we were losing 9-7 to Santa Fe Junior College in a semifinal game. Ray Michael from Scotch Plains, New Jersey, who transferred up here from Somerset with me, was our first baseman. There was a guy on first base, bottom of the 9th. I brought him down to the third base coach and I said, Ray, we've been working on your hitting for 2 years. The only shot we have for you to take the best swing of your life, hit it out of here. 2 pitches later, the great player did that. Hit it out, tied the game, 9-9. In the 10th inning, Roger Maris's youngest son, Darren, hit into a double play for them. We go into the 12th inning. We try to steal home with Parsippany's George Marchfried, who was our center fielder, stole 48 out of 54 bases. He tried to steal home, gets caught, out at the plate. Big fight breaks out. Oh, my goodness, it was terrible. Then in the 13th inning, we won the game on a base hit by Jimmy Jansen from Parsippany, who didn't have a hit in the series until then. Then in 1987 World Series, Dennis mentioned John Vuz, Scott Vuz. His younger brother was our first baseman. So we're playing Central Arizona Junior College, and it's a tie game late in the game. We have the squeeze play on, and we had an acknowledgement system where the guy on third would, give a little signal to the batter to make sure the batter wasn't swinging away as the guy from third was coming home. Well, Scott Vuz, the batter, didn't give the acknowledgement back to the guy at third base, Jesus Moreo. And Jesus calls timeout, ties his shoe. I bring Scott over. I said, Scott, what's going on? The squeeze is on. Coach, I'm the 4th batter in the lineup. I don't bunt. I says, well, the squeeze is on. Now everybody knows something is coming. You got to get a base hit and win the game. He did. Great players make good coaches. So we had great years here in Morris in 85, 87. In 89, we went out to Arizona, played in a preseason tournament. So our guys got to travel a lot. I can't tell you how many guys never flew before that got a chance to fly in our program here. And so we had great runs, and it was a great time here. Then I went over to FDU with one of our assistants, Jimmy McDermott, who was the head coach, and I ran into Jack Sullivan, and that's what we refer to. So again, congratulations to everybody here. It's been a great evening, and let's hear it for CCM. Thank you, sir. Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our evening and our festivities. Thank you so very, very much for attending tonight. Congratulations to all our inductees. Please don't forget about the QR code in the program, and we look forward to our next induction class of 2026.